So this video is kind of just a way for me to express gratitude to God and talk about the car wreck that that Chelsea and I were just recently in. It was a really wild experience, and I make these videos as a journal entry for me, but I also would like to be able to have them for my family down the road. If any of these experiences will help them in their lives, I don't know. We'll see. But Chelsea and I were doing a trip cross country from Florida in Jacksonville, coming through Tallahassee and then Nauvoo, Illinois, and then our purpose was to end up out in Utah in Logan, where I currently am. We had stopped in Nauvoo, Illinois, and stayed with my mom and stepdad for just 2 nights, and had a really nice, sweet experience there with them. The rest of our trip, we were trying to make the drive from Nauvoo to Logan is an 18.5-hour drive. So to do that in one day, it's a long day, it's a long drive, but we were both pretty excited, and we're able to alternate back and forth driving, so that made it a lot more manageable. When we were driving through Wyoming, we'd made it all the way through just barely past Cheyenne, Wyoming, about 12 miles west of Cheyenne. The sun was going down. It was later in the evening. Obviously, we'd had a great day, just talking back and forth and listening to music and just looking at the beautiful scenery of the country that we are so fortunate to live in. And Chelsea was driving. We were going about 80 miles an hour down Interstate 80, which is the speed limit. And as we're headed west, there were 40 mile an hour plus gusts of wind that would come in from the north, and we're in a lightweight car, it's a Nissan Versa, and anytime we were getting hit with that kind of wind, you could feel the car shift pretty significantly at times. And one of the gusts, unfortunately, took place when we were in the passing lane, kind of close to the yellow line on the inside, and it pushed us enough into the median where we started to hit gravel. And when we corrected to get back into the lane, it was just a little bit too much, and there was a lot of quickly we lost control, and we went down into the median, which was about a 40-foot across grass median in kind of a V shape. And as we went down, we ended up hitting the median on the nose with the car, and we rolled 2.5 times, finally stopping upside down. And it really all happened very quickly, as I know is very cliche to say, but it happened in an instant. I think it happened in less than 5 seconds altogether, as I'm recalling. But I've never been in any kind of incident, any wreck before this. This was definitely the most severe incident that I've ever been in, where, our lives were very, very possibly could have ended. A lot of wrecks, especially at that speed, and especially when you flip, do end in death. And if not that, then maybe hospitalization or broken bones, or getting some deep cuts, or something happening where you have to go to the hospital, emergency room, ambulance. And Chelsea and I, as the dust was, as the car had finally stopped moving, all the windows had busted out. I mean, the airbags had deployed, and we were wearing our seatbelts. The dust was kind of settling, and yelled out to her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she responded, "Yes, yes." We both unbuckled, flipped over, and crawled out of my window. She, as soon as we could stand and realized that we were both alive and fine. I mean, we looked at each other, asked about, if anything, if either of us were in pain, and the surprising answer was no. I mean, neither of us. We had cuts and bruises, but minor. If nothing that even needed stitches or sutures. So it was really such an amazing blessing to look at her and also to just feel myself be fully intact and aware. I started smiling and laughing at the situation because of just how crazy it is. So as soon as we realized that we were both okay and we looked up and kind of noticed what was going on around us, there were at least 10 different vehicles that had all kind of stopped along the interstate to hop out, and people were running down to help us. There was a guy that is about my age, clean shaven, about my height, and he came up to us and he was like, "Is there anybody else in the car?" "No, there's nobody else. It was just us." "Are you guys okay?" Like, "Yes, we're fine," just in disbelief even. And he had tears in his eyes and he just said, "Thank God you're okay." And he gave us a hug before, taking off. And the other people that were there, there was a semi-truck driver that had pulled off to the side and started setting up hazard cones to keep the traffic flowing, headed westbound, and to keep people away from all the other vehicles that had pulled off to the side. And there was a guy who called 911, who was, I'm sure many people called 911, but one of them that was there on the site, he was a former EMT, and he had been through this process many, many times. So he had checked us out and made sure that we were okay, was talking with us, made sure we were cognizant. And as soon as he said, "Do either of you need an ambulance?" we were both able to affirm that no, I think we're fine. Even just to leave, we're okay. We don't need an ambulance. You could tell he was kind of shocked about that even, but he just said, "Send highway patrol and don't worry about the ambulance." Then from there, he went back to his car, grabbed the first aid kit, and he just bandaged up any of the small cuts that we did have, and cleaned them right up. And so another person that was there, this was a really cool one for Chelsea and I specifically, was a woman and a man that had driving a Dodge truck, had pulled off and hopped out, ran down to help us. It was really cold because it was Wyoming and still pretty chilly, and not to mention the 40-mile-an-hour plus winds. Well, because we were in the car driving, we didn't have our jackets on, so when we climbed out, we didn't think, "Oh, I should probably grab a jacket for standing around." And we weren't certain that the car wasn't going to explode. I don't know enough about vehicles and their likelihood to explode, but there was fluid leaking somewhere, and that was enough to make me question, like, we should probably stay away from this. So we didn't go back and get jackets or anything, but there was a woman that had popped out of a truck and said, "Hey, if you guys want to just come sit in the car, you're more than welcome to just stay out of the wind until highway patrol gets here." And so, yeah, we went and sat in the car and talked with her and her husband for just a few minutes. And then Highway Patrol eventually showed up, but we had just a really sweet dialogue back and forth. And while I was talking to the Highway Patrol once they had arrived, Chelsea had discovered that the man and woman were actually LDS, and she and Chelsea and I are both LDS, and so it was really cool having just this small connection with them, just total strangers. So it's really crazy. That is by far the scariest situation physically I've ever been in. And I can't really explain it, and I don't think it's because I felt a sense of peace while it was happening, and climbing out and seeing Chelsea, and just felt like everything was going to be okay, even from the moment that it started to occur. I've been thrown from my bike. I've fallen from high places. I've gotten hit by a car while riding my bike. Things like this, where the situation very quickly was out of my control, and I felt the fear immediately, and the panic just burst into your stomach. But that didn't happen for this. And whenever we looked around and saw all those people there that were just helping us, she and I both felt this amazing swell of love and peace just come over us, even greater than I've ever felt in any kind of emergency. And it was beautiful for me to see that. And one of my personal beliefs is that that we have angels on both sides, that are living and that are not, that are watching over us. And I believe all the people that stop to help us, I believe that they're angels. And I believe that we have family that either are past or have yet to come, that guide and protect us and watch over us. And I feel like that's the reason that I felt so much peace during something that was very chaotic. And I am so grateful for the love that God has for me, for giving me a chance to continue living, and while having that experience to add to my own life, to help broaden my understanding of relationships and just how unifying they can be. The sunset that night was so beautiful. We were at this funny little motel called the Roundup Motel. That was just, it's just one of those motels. And sitting outside of it, and just had a Domino's pizza and wings on the way. I was just sitting there by myself while Chelsea was talking on the phone. And it was the most beautiful sky to just watch all the colors change, and even to feel the wind. The wind felt good. It was really amazing. And I'm just grateful to be alive, and looking forward to the future. And who knows what else is gonna happen, but hopefully I'll be here a little while longer. So, and same with Chelsea. I hope she's here much longer. But anyway.